So, Stephen, Google introduced new Tau VMs with AMD Milan processors, demonstrating a performance edge over rivals AWS and Azure. Previously, x86 cloud instances were compared with ARM on a vCPU versus physical CPU basis, but the new AMD platform allows Google to focus on physical x86 cores. This upsets the playing field as Google offers far better performance than both ARM and vCPU based x86 cloud. What sort of impact will this have in terms of public cloud computing?
Yeah, this is a huge one. And I want to call out the presentation that we saw from Robert Hormuth from AMD at our recent Cloud Field Day event. In that presentation, one of the sort of underlying messages that he was talking about was basically the impact that that the new AMD processors, the Zen 4C and the Zen 4 generally, can have on cloud computing space. And I think a lot of the cloud delegates around the table were kind of putting two and two together and saying, wait a second, if we've got so many CPUs, physical CPUs, then maybe x86 can compete with AMD-based Graviton and Ampere systems on a physical CPU to physical CPU basis, instead of basically over-provisioning with virtual CPUs. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. So essentially, Google's Tau VMs using AMD's Milan processors allow Google to offer much, much better performance, not just better than ARM, which is not a surprise on a core-to-core basis when you're not virtualizing, but also better than x86 on Amazon, which may be surprising. But of course, if you're comparing physical CPUs to virtual CPUs, in other words, physical CPUs to hyper-threaded virtual CPUs, it's no surprise that Google is outperforming them. Personally, I think this is a sign of things to come. We already know that AMD is going to be doubling down, tripling down on their use of the Zen 4C processors in the cloud, and that these processors are complete full-featured processors. Yes, they're stripped down somewhat from the Zen 4, but you can pack a ton of them into a processor, which means that we could have much more powerful CPUs available in the cloud from AMD very, very soon. And this Google announcement shows that that's working. But don't put all your bets on AMD yet, because of course Intel has also announced that they're going to offer many, many, many core CPU platform for the cloud as well. Now, theirs is based on their efficiency cores, so it's not exactly the same thing. It's not exactly apples to apples. But the idea of ARM basically wiping the floor with x86, thanks to having tons of efficient cores, well, that may be changing in the cloud.